Yeah, yeah. The pictures I saw on Facebook, you looked very content and well deserved for both of you, or actually all three of you soon. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's not something I expected to do at this point in my life, but hey, it's
yeah, yeah. But
welcome to
sometimes
the
we have to.
USA.
What? Yeah. Well,
It really makes the mission that we're on even more relative, raising a child. And Jennifer's got two children of her own, 7 and 9, boy and a girl. And I went to the school county event where the police were speaking. And they said their primary concerns in regards to their involvement with education are gang recruitment, child trafficking, and gang recruitment, child trafficking, and active shooters.
wow.
Welcome to the USA. You are now a parent raising your child, your baby, in a country that is really struggling in regards to the culture where it becomes normal to give children active shooter drills at school.
I know.
I mean, maybe because you guys have been living with this for some time, but for me, as an Australian, it's a real eye opener.
Yeah. Well, even back in the 50s and 60s, our educational system here, I think, is different than the rest of the world. And the schools would have the bars on the windows and things like that, so people wouldn't steal education. I guess I don't know.
Mm.
Uh, that's one of the biggest things that I think we need to do is change the way we educate.
Oh, well, there's plenty of examples from around the world of countries that are doing it best, and certainly Australia is not one of them. Um, but I think what lies at the root of all these issues is our culture, and with that, um, embedding kindness in the culture is going to give us a shot at being able to address everything else. Because unless you start at that basis, you end up losing the ability to have civil discourse. And that means that you're no longer able to discuss the subject. You end up playing the man, not the ball.
Right.
And people are bringing a virtual baseball bat to every conversation. That creates a wider divide. And what the irony there is that your Pledge of Allegiance, one which I'm guessing I'm going to have to take one day, is all about being indivisible.
Right.
And I wonder if you did a self-audit, if by your actions, either by word or deed, have you kept your pledge? Have you kept your promise? Has everything you've done been bridging the divide or widening it? Because the moment you get into identity politics, you'd stop listening to the messenger and or the content of the message, and you just focus on the identity of the messenger.
Right. Yeah. Are you a Democrat or Republican?
Yeah.
And if you're and I actually learned a very important lesson with my cousin at Christmas time. They're very strong Republicans, and this man said, those Democrats, and I stopped him right there. I said, as soon as you say that, you're using divisive language, and you probably have about 500 to 1,000 hidden biases that you're not even aware of that come out as soon as you say that. Let's
Yeah,
start talking
I
about.
don't think they're even hidden anymore, Danny. I don't think there's such a thing as unconscious bias. I know they talk about it, but we don't need race, we don't need religion, we don't need politics, we don't need gender, we don't even need age to discriminate, because we'll discriminate based on zip codes. And all you've got to do is go to a conference, walk down the auditorium, walk down that hall, and choose your seat. And by the seat you choose will determine your unconscious bias, because you've already passed people by having weighed up who they were
Yep.
on something about their look, something about their demeanor, something about them. Of course, you might want to have a good seat with a good view and everything else, and you might want to have a bit of space, but there's certainly bias involved in that. And I think kindness is able, in one way, once it's on your radar, you begin to see the unseen. You begin to see things that were always present, not just outside, those people living on the fringe, those people that remain invisible, but you begin to see yourself differently. And in time, you will notice it changes you. Because not only do you begin to see the unseen, you're compelled to do something about it. You won't walk by, you'll stop and offer a helping hand, inviting somebody in, because we use we talk about having inclusivity. We don't have inclusivity.
Yeah. We won't talk about inclusivity.
And it's a waste of time talking about being inclusive. It's in every manual of every company and every government department, being inclusive. But we don't get it because we talk about it so much. It's just an expected thing to have there because it's a good value to have. But at the end of the day, unless you actually address the power of exclusion, to be excluded, because we're really good at that. You know that since man had fire, the chief doesn't like you, you're banished. The emperor, poor old Napoleon, if the empire doesn't like you, you're exiled. If the church doesn't like you, you're excommunicated. Your family will disown you. Discharged from the army. There's a different word, but it's all about exclusion. And eventually we'll go and put you in prison, exclude you from the rest of the community. And if you're too tough to care because you're a resilient, hardened, drug-dealing rapist and you're a career criminal, we know how to hurt you. We know how to do your head in. We'll put you in solitary, removing you from the prison community because you'll be alone. But that's not where it starts. It starts with the words, "You can't play with us." It's a little boy or a little girl that goes home to their mum and dad and says, "What's wrong with me? Why don't I have any friends? Why doesn't anybody want to play with me?" It's heartbreaking for a parent. And if our campaign to create a kinder world is this much successful, when that day happens, when that comes, because it will come, there'll be a voice in the crowd that will say, "Yes, she can." And it'll be from another child that has the courage to be kind, the courage to relinquish the safety of silence. The silent majority right now is not about, what was it? Was it during the Nixon campaign they identified the silent majority? I can't remember. But the silent majority right now is so many people that are afraid to relinquish the safety of silence because they will become targeted. And it's not about hitting somebody over the head with a statement. It's about asking a question, a really simple question. Is this the best we can be? Because right now in the world, particularly in the home of the brave, we all need to find our courage to be kind. And that's not easy. That's not easy. I mean, I just read an article the other day in Minnesota where an African-American man went to the bank. He just won a discrimination case from his employer, got a $99,000 payout. He took the check to the bank. The bank manager, this is the bank that he banked at his entire life. Did you see this story?
Yeah, I skimmed it.
And the bank manager questioned the amount. And at $99,000, it would, that's probably a fair call. So he put him in touch with his lawyer, who confirmed, we've just won the court case. This is a $99,000 payout from such and such, and you can bank these funds. The manager still didn't believe it, so he called the police. The irony is insane, right? Called the police.
Yeah. I posted, I'm curious about what's going to happen next with this story.
Yeah.
You know, because I think the article mentions that the bank manager was the same race.
Yeah, I think it did too. Well, it's going to go to court